Specific type of intermittent fasting that I explore in intuitive fasting is time-restricted feeding, which is one of the most well-researched types of intermittent fasting. It has nothing to do with chronic caloric restriction, and I think that is an important point to make, that oftentimes we conflate chronic caloric restriction with fasting. They're actually two different things. Specifically, time-restricted feeding, it's not decreasing your calories at all, it's just eating in specific windows throughout the day to give your body bigger times of fasting throughout a 24-hour period. And there's many other types of fasting as well. There's different fasting mimicking protocols where you do for a time decrease calories, but not for long, because refeeding and making sure you're eating enough nutrient-dense healing food until satiety is just as important as fasting. It's a balancing act, and there's a time for eating and a time for fasting, and that's what the researchers are really exploring when it comes to times of intermittent fasting. This is not about starvation. And there are many exciting health benefits when you're looking into scientific literature when it comes to intermittent fasting. Let's go over some of them. One is the brain supporting benefits. Let's back up a little bit. When you're fasting, you are in some level of what's known as nutritional ketosis. Have you probably heard of the ketogenic diet, which is connected to fasting because it's fasting mimicking in many ways. And if you look at the research of both the ketogenic diet and fasting, you'll see a lot of the same health benefits because both are supporting something called beta-hydroxybutyrate, or BHB, which is a ketone body. And it's known in the research as the fourth macronutrient. So we have protein, fats, carbs, and ketones. So with intermittent fasting, you're supporting your body to naturally produce beta-hydroxybutyrate, which is not just a way to burn fat, which there is a lot of excitement around that, but it's so much more than that. Beta-hydroxybutyrate can actually pass through the blood-brain barrier, providing your brain clean fuel into some amazing things when it comes to brain health. Beta-hydroxybutyrate is known as an epigenetic modulator, which means it does really cool things for our health, and it's a signaling molecule. It actually signals certain pathways in the body. One of them specifically, when it comes to the brain, is it supports something called BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor. It encourages your brain to actually make new neurons. How cool is that? And it also has been shown to support something called mitochondrial biogenesis, the making of new mitochondria, which we need for cellular energy, which is not only great for the brain, but great for the body systemically. And also, beta-hydroxybutyrate has been shown to lower inflammation. And look, I mean, people don't realize this, but a lot of brain health issues have been shown to have inflammatory components. So things like depression, anxiety, brain fog, other neurological issues, all have been shown in the scientific literature to have inflammatory components. So beta-hydroxybutyrate in times of fasting has been shown to lower neuroinflammation, specifically pathways that are called NF-kappa B, the COX-2 pathway, and something called the NLRP3 inflammasome. These are pro-inflammatory cytokines that not only negatively impact the brain, but can impact the body systemically. But since we're talking about brain health here, it's a natural way to lower neuroinflammation or lower brain inflammation. So that's just the brain. I mean, there's a lot of other health benefits that have been shown in the research when it comes to intermittent fasting. So my approach to intermittent fasting is an intuitive one. And it may seem paradoxical on the surface. Intuitive fasting, you may be thinking, what the heck? There's nothing intuitive about fasting. And for many people, that is true. Because many people are struggling with different various degrees of metabolic inflexibility or metabolic rigidity. What do I mean by that? Most people are stuck in the sugar burning mode. There's an epidemic of blood sugar problems. It's estimated that 50% of the United States has a blood sugar problem, where it's things like metabolic syndrome, prediabetes, type 2 diabetes, some form of insulin resistance, even PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome, has insulin resistance as a component to it. So we're dealing with a lot of different blood sugar issues, hormonal problems, autoimmune issues, and this can really, it's like proverbial noise when it comes to our bodies and physiologically how we feel. That's really hard to hear, that still small voice of your intuition, because is it intuition, or is it, hangriness? Is it intuition or hormone imbalance? Is it intuition or blood sugar imbalance? So I want people to be able to eat intuitively. I want people to be able to fast intuitively as well. But you have to calm that noise to hear that resolute voice of your intuition. So metabolic flexibility is fertile ground for authentic intuitive eating and authentic intuitively fasting. Not because you're willing it or it's some arduous punitive thing. It's that you can go longer without eating because you're more metabolically flexible. You're able to burn fat for fuel and burn sugar for fuel. So in my book, in Intuitive Fasting, I go through a 4-week flexible fasting plan that has vacillating, ebbing and flowing, time-restricted feeding windows for you to fast certain windows and eat certain windows, and they vary from week to week. Think of it as a proverbial yoga class for your metabolism. If you've never done yoga before and you show up and you take an advanced class, you're going to think, what the heck, this is completely unnatural. How does the human body move like this? That's doing too much too soon. You're not meeting your body where it's at. That's what I'm doing when it comes to intuitive fasting. I'm not starting you out with an advanced fast. I want you to show up to a beginner class and then lean into it gently. So there's a grace, there's a lightness, there's a flexibility when it comes to fasting. And you're not doing too much too soon because I want this to be sustainable for you, and I want you to find what I refer to in the book as food peace and body peace when it comes to knowing what your body loves and what your body hates so you can feel your best. 2 supplements that I definitely recommend when it comes to intuitive fasting or any other type of intermittent fasting are MCT oils and branched-chain amino acids. Let's talk about both separately. MCT oil, it's an acronym that stands for medium-chain triglyceride oil. It is a wonderful tool when you are fasting or even if you just want to support energy levels throughout the day when you're not fasting. It is used by the body in a very specific way. It's not metabolized in the same way that other types of oils and fats are. This is a special type of fat that has a thermogenic effect, meaning your body uses it for fuel and doesn't store it as fat on our bodies. So now has it in both a liquid form and a powder form. I love adding it to tea. I love adding it to coffees. You can blend it up in a smoothie when you're not fasting, but it's a great tool to support energy levels throughout the day when you are fasting, or if you just want to boost your energy even when you're not fasting. Another tool that I really love when fasting is branched-chain amino acids, and now has it both in a powder form and in a capsule form as well. I love branched-chain amino acids because these are amino acids or building blocks for our body that our body doesn't make on its own. We normally get it from food, but when you're fasting, you're not having any food. So if you're doing a fasted workout, for example, this is a great tool to make your workout more effective. You can get more out when you are working out to give your body that extra support during that exercise. Those are 2 great staples when it comes to supplementation support when you're fasting.